Welcome back, Goon Squad. Thanks for stopping by to another X-Ray Alpha certified instructional video.
Where I take heat rounds from fucking dipshits like you.
And what we're going to be talking about is the civilian PACE plan. So what is a PACE plan? For those that don't know, it's an acronym that stems from the military, and it goes as follows: primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. It's basically backup plans for backup plans. So how does this apply to your normal run-of-the-mill goon in the world today? How people like us might use it, and how I use it, is an outline for how I not only acquire, but stage my preps. This will make more sense as I get into it. But let's talk after the intro.
Yeah. Aye. Yeah. Got my rock up, safe, not soft. We standing on this business. Ayy, if you on that other side, and you is not a friend of me.
So before we get into the PACE plan, let's make a couple things clear. In all of your preps, family comes first. Keep them alive and keep them safe. So how do we do that? Well, let's think about the things that would kill us first. Those things would be water, food, medical related things, shelter, and then safety. If you have those things squared away, then more than likely you'll be fine. But as the PACE plan continues to unfold, your plan of attack will have to change as well. And each level of PACE is used for an increasing level of severity in regards to an effect on your livelihood. So what does all that mean? So let's look at the first level of PACE. This is your primary prep plan. And how I'm going to go over each level of PACE is following yet another fucking acronym called SHTF. And that stands for Situation, Action, Time, and Future Action. So let's have a look at primary. The situation is normal. This is your normal day-to-day life. You go to work every day, you go home, you get paid, and pay your bills. There isn't any restriction on any goods or services, and life goes on as normal. Your action in this time should be to solidify your PACE plan and do rehearsals, i.e. train. Regardless if you're a civilian, regardless if you have a military background, regardless if you have any preps whatsoever, start here. And since this is your day-to-day, these preps only go as far as 24 hours. This is you cooking dinner for yourself every night with perishable goods in the fridge and living life like normal. So during the primary phase of PACE, your future action should be to prioritize goods that you're deficient in and acquire them. So whether that's storing food, water, extra medications, if you have a high-speed bug-out shelter on a remote property, make sure that shit's squared away, because now's the time to do it. Because there's no stress in your life outside of what normal day-to-day life has. So basically get the things that you wouldn't normally be able to get if the shit hit the fan. Now let's take a look at alternate. This is a disruption to your day-to-day life. This might look like economic hardship, panic buying of certain goods, or maybe a restriction on certain services like healthcare. Your best course of action in this time is to network with your fellow goons to gauge the situation to see if it gets worse. Start collecting intel and see how the situation progresses. During a time like this, you should prepare to sustain yourself for 48 hours to a week at a time, theoretically between each sustainment refill. And important future actions during this time is to confirm your PACE plan. If the situation continues to worsen, you'll move on to your contingency plan. So let's talk about our contingency plan. In this situation, your livelihood may be severely interrupted, hopefully for a short period of time or only in certain areas. This may look like a natural disaster, loss of certain imports, and potentially a regional infrastructure attack. So now you should be actively confirming with your fellow Goon Squad your combo plans, primary and alternate routes, not only to each other, but to possible bug-out locations, and any other plans you may have. Maintain that communication with each other. Make sure each plan has an alternate or backup plan associated with it, and that everybody knows what that looks like. In a situation like this, you may be expected to sustain yourself for a week to 2 weeks. And as far as your future actions, bugging out might not be completely necessary, and it might not be completely safe either. But you should definitely consider it if staying is a detriment to your safety. So lastly, we're going to look at emergency. This is the worst of the worst. This is the worst after it got worse. And nobody's coming to save you. And this may look like martial law, civil conflict, or a complete infrastructure breakdown. This is when the shit hit the fan. And in a situation like this, linking with your Goon Squad is going to be your best chances for survival. I know you might be Johnny Badass, but you know what's scarier than one Johnny Badass? 2 of them, or 3 or 4, or however many fucking goons you got. Shit, you might have a goon battalion. If that's the case, fucking good on ya. And it's been true before, and it's especially true now. Make sure your family is safe. I feel like a lot of people lose themselves in this like prepping thing that we do, where it becomes like an individualistic thing, or it's just your household and your household only. And I understand that a lot of people don't necessarily have the space or the funds or the logistics to be able to provide for anyone outside of their immediate vicinity. But I think it would behoove you to somehow pencil it into your plan, or have a plan, to check in on your family. Because in a time like that, where the shit really hit the fan, outside of divine intervention, we're gonna need each other. Make sure you get that into your head. In a true SHTF situation, you may be expected to provide for yourself for 2 months to possibly indefinitely. Procurement of food, water, and any other goods for daily life will likely become a norm. And because of that, use perishable goods sparingly. So that's what a PACE plan looks like. So if you're coming at this completely green, where do you start? Let's look at the timetables for each level of the PACE plan. Primary, you have like 24 hours. If you don't have enough food and water to sustain yourself for 24 hours, fix it. I think every person, for the most part in the United States, follows the primary option without realizing it. That's day-to-day life, right? And then I guess prepping starts at maybe the alternate or contingency part of the plan. But I think a lot of people skip over one or multiple levels of the PACE plan. Like, dude, you might have 10,000 fucking rounds in your house for every one of your 90 fucking guns. But have you ever thought that maybe if the water turned off right now and it didn't come back on again, did you ask yourself how fucked you might be? Like for me, I live in an area where finding water outside of maybe rainwater, or if somebody has a well drilled, I'm not drinking out of a fucking stream or a pond. I simply have too much agriculture around me, and I don't really have the ability to be able to filter that much water effectively for me and my family. Now I understand that in a long-term situation, that would have to be a thing, and I'm planning for that. But my alternate and contingency plan right now is to just store water en masse that is clean drinking water. So if that sounds like something that might pertain to you, start with doing 48 hours to 2 weeks worth of water. Or if you don't have 2 weeks worth of food in your house that isn't relying on the refrigerator, start there. So you see what I mean? Like you start with primary, move on to alternate. Once alternate squared away, move on to your contingency. Then once contingency squared away, move on to your emergency plan. Because I think a lot of us really get lost in the gear buying and the fucking guns and the chest rigs and fucking radios and all this other shit. But at the end of the day, my family's not gonna eat a plate carrier, even if I have 2 or 3 of them. So make sure you prioritize, flesh out your PACE plan, and then once you're good on at least like your alternate, then maybe you can consider buying that $80 sling or your 5th red dot. And don't worry, I got videos coming out soon going over common prepper foods compared and water storage for noobs. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer every comment. By no means am I an X-Ray Alpha certified expert, but I have been doing this for the better part of 15 years. And the last 5 years has been spent unlearning a lot of bad habits. But all in all, that's all I got for you guys today. If you liked what you saw, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe to support the channel. And some of you were asking. At 500 subs, I'll do a mustache reveal. Anyway, it's 8 o'clock and it's time for me to orbit my Discord kitten. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
So soon.